If someone can look into your eyes, see your pain, and still turn away, that's not love. That's betrayal. And if you ignore it, it will slowly teach you that your feelings don't matter. Let me tell you something that may shake you. The deepest betrayals in love are rarely loud. They don't always come with slam doors or shocking confessions. Sometimes they arrive in silence, in distance, in the subtle moment when you reach for someone emotionally and they are simply not there. The first betrayal you should never overlook is emotional abandonment. It's when you are hurting, confused, overwhelmed, and the person who promised to stand beside you disappears emotionally. They may still live in the same house. They may still text you good morning. But when your heart cracks open, they retreat. They dismiss. They minimize. They change the subject. They make your pain feel inconvenient. And here's why this is so dangerous. Love requires presence. Real love says, I will sit in the fire with you. It doesn't run from discomfort. It doesn't punish vulnerability. When someone consistently withdraws the moment you become real, the moment you express fear, sadness, insecurity, they are teaching you to silence yourself. They are training you to be easy, low maintenance, less emotional. Over time, you start shrinking. You start apologizing for your needs. You start believing that asking for support is weakness. And that is the quiet erosion of your worth. Love is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of connection during conflict. If someone cannot stay emotionally engaged when things get hard, that is not a small flaw. That is a fracture in the foundation, and foundations matter. Let's talk about a betrayal that hides behind charm, behind sarcasm, behind the excuse of I'm just being honest. Disrespect. Not the obvious kind, not screaming or public humiliation. I'm talking about the subtle, cutting comments, the eye rolls, the jokes at your expense, the tone that makes you feel 2 inches tall, the constant correction, the way they speak over you, interrupt you, dismiss your ideas, and then tell you you're too sensitive. That is not honesty. That is erosion. Love without respect is not love. It is possession. It is control. It is dominance dressed up as intimacy. When someone consistently chips away at your dignity, they are not strengthening the relationship. They are weakening your sense of self. And here's what makes this betrayal so dangerous, confuses you, because they may also say, I love you, they may provide, they may show affection. So you begin to question your own reaction. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe this is just how relationships are. No. Healthy love does not belittle. Healthy love does not mock your dreams. Healthy love does not weaponize your vulnerabilities during an argument. Respect is the oxygen of connection. Without it, love suffocates. And when you tolerate repeated disrespect, you unconsciously agree to a story where your voice doesn't matter, where your boundaries are negotiable, where your feelings are inconvenient. That story will cost you more than the relationship ever could. If someone loves you, they protect your dignity, especially when they're angry, especially when they disagree, because love is not proven in moments of ease. It is revealed in moments of tension. And if tension turns into contempt, don't overlook it. Now let's talk about the betrayal that shatters everything, even when it doesn't look dramatic on the outside. Broken trust. And I'm not just talking about infidelity. I'm talking about lies, half-truths, hidden messages, promises made with passion and broken with indifference. I'm talking about the slow, steady realization that the person you love is not who they said they were. Trust is not built in grand gestures. It's built in consistency, in alignment, in words that match behavior. When someone says you can count on me and then disappears when it matters, that's betrayal. When someone says, I'll never hurt you, and then hides things because it's easier than being accountable, that's betrayal. When someone asks you to be vulnerable while they guard their own truth behind locked doors, that's betrayal. And here's what makes broken trust so devastating. It doesn't just break your faith in them. It shakes your faith in yourself. You start asking, how did I not see this? Why did I ignore the red flags? Can I trust my own judgment? That internal confusion is the real wound. Love requires safety And safety is built on honesty, radical, uncomfortable, courageous honesty, not perfection, but transparency, not flawlessness, but accountability. When trust is broken and there is no deep remorse, no ownership, no sustained effort to rebuild, what you're left with is instability. And instability breeds anxiety, hypervigilance, emotional exhaustion. You should never have to investigate the person you're in love with. You should never have to decode their behavior like a puzzle. Trust is the glue of intimacy. Without it, every I love you starts to sound hollow. And once trust cracks, ignoring it won't fix it. It will only teach you to live in doubt. And love should never feel like doubt. Now, here's the hard question. If these betrayals hurt so deeply, why do we overlook them? Why do we explain them away? Why do we minimize them? Why do we stay? Because love makes us hopeful. And hope can be beautiful, but it can also make us blind. When you care about someone, your brain searches for evidence that supports the relationship, not evidence that threatens it. Yeah. So when they abandon you emotionally, you say they're just stressed. When they disrespect you, you say they didn't mean it. When they break your trust, you say everyone makes mistakes. And yes, everyone does make mistakes. But betrayal is not a mistake when it becomes a pattern. The truth is, many of us are more afraid of being alone than being slowly diminished. We fear starting over. We fear the grief. We fear admitting that we invested our heart in something that isn't healthy. So we bargain. We've been through so much. They weren't always like this. If I love them better, maybe they'll change. But love is not rehabilitation. And it is not your job to sacrifice yourself worth in exchange for potential. Sometimes we overlook betrayals because we were taught that loyalty means endurance, no matter the cost. That strong people stay. That good partners forgive endlessly. But strength is not silent suffering. Strength is discernment. Strength is saying, this hurts, and I will not pretend it doesn't. Strength is recognizing that what you tolerate teaches people how to treat you. Ignoring red flags doesn't make you compassionate. It makes you complicit in your own heartbreak, and you deserve more than a love you have to constantly defend in your own mind. Here's where it gets even more painful. One betrayal can wound you, but repeated betrayal will reshape you. When emotional abandonment, disrespect, or broken trust happens once, and there is genuine remorse, accountability, and changed behavior, healing is possible. But when it happens again and again and again, you are no longer dealing with a mistake. You are dealing with a pattern, and patterns tell the truth that apologies try to soften. A pattern says, this is who I am when things get hard. A pattern says, your pain is not enough to change me. A pattern says, I expect you to adjust. And slowly, something inside you starts to shift. You become hyper aware. You monitor their tone. You rehearse conversations in your head. You brace yourself for the next letdown. That is not love. That is survival mode. You deserve a relationship where your nervous system can rest, where you don't have to scan for danger, where you don't feel relief simply because nothing went wrong today. When betrayal becomes cyclical, it chips away at your confidence. You stop trusting your reactions. You stop speaking up because it won't change anything anyway. And you shrink to keep the peace. And shrinking is not intimacy. It is self-erasure. The hardest truth is this: when someone shows you a repeated pattern of harm, believing them isn't cynical, it's wise. Love is not proven by how much pain you can endure. It is proven by mutual effort, growth, and repair. If the cycle keeps spinning and you are the only one trying to stop it, you are not in a partnership. You are in a storm alone. And storms don't calm down just because you hope they will. Now, I want to say something that might sting a little. Sometimes the deepest betrayal in love isn't what they did. It's what you allow. When you repeatedly overlook emotional abandonment, disrespect, and broken trust, something subtle begins to happen. You start betraying yourself. You silence your intuition. You swallow your anger. You explain away the ache in your chest. Your body knows when something isn't right. Your gut tightens. Your sleep shifts. Your joy feels muted. But instead of listening, you negotiate with your own pain. It's not that bad. I'm overreacting. At least they're not. And that's how self-betrayal begins, not with drama, but with dismissal. Every time you ignore your inner voice, you weaken your relationship with yourself. And here's the truth. The relationship you have with yourself sets the standard for every other relationship in your life. If you don't believe your feelings matter, neither will they. If you don't defend your boundaries, no one else will protect them for you. Self-betrayal is exhausting. It creates resentment, not just toward them, but toward yourself. You look in the mirror and wonder, why am I still here? Why didn't I speak up? Why did I leave? And shame starts whispering. But listen to me carefully. You are not weak for wanting love. You are not foolish for hoping someone will change. You are human. However, healing begins the moment you decide your inner truth deserves loyalty. You cannot build a safe love on top of self-abandonment. And the most powerful shift you will ever make is choosing not to betray yourself again. Now let's get something clear. Not every mistake is a betrayal. We are human. We miscommunicate. We forget. We get defensive. We say things we regret. Healthy relationships are not built on perfection. They are built on repair. But betrayal is different. A mistake says, I messed up. Betrayal says, I knew this would hurt you, and I did it anyway. A mistake is followed by ownership. Betrayal is followed by excuses. When someone truly makes a mistake, you see discomfort in them. You see empathy. You see effort. They don't just say sorry to stop the argument. They change behavior because your pain matters to them. Betrayal, on the other hand, flips the script. Suddenly you're the problem for bringing it up. You're dramatic. You're too sensitive. You can't let things go. That's not repair. That's deflection. Real accountability sounds like this. You're right. I hurt you. I understand why. And I'm committed to doing better. Fake accountability sounds like this. I'm sorry you feel that way. Do you hear the difference? One takes responsibility. The other avoids it. When you confuse betrayal with simple human error, you lower your standards in the name of compassion. And compassion without boundaries becomes self-sacrifice. Pay attention to patterns of behavior after conflict. Growth is visible. Change is consistent. Repair is intentional. If someone keeps crossing the same line and calling it a mistake, it's time to stop doubting your clarity. Love allows imperfection. But it does not require you to tolerate repeated harm disguised as just being human. If you've experienced betrayal, you might start to believe that love is supposed to feel unstable, intense, unpredictable. You might think anxiety is passion, that walking on eggshells is commitment, that surviving chaos together is intimacy. It's not. Healthy love feels steady. It feels like exiling. It feels like you can tell the truth about your fears without being punished for them. It feels like disagreements don't threaten the entire relationship. It feels like your nervous system isn't constantly bracing for impact. Healthy love does not humiliate you to win an argument. It does not disappear when things get emotionally heavy. It does not ask you to shrink to be acceptable. It makes space for your voice, space for your growth, space for your humanity. And here's something powerful. Healthy love isn't loud all the time. It's not always fireworks and intensity. Sometimes it's simple. It's consistent. It's showing up when it's inconvenient. It's choosing honesty when lying would be easier. It's staying engaged when walking away would feel safer. In healthy love, repair is normal. Apologies are specific. Change is visible. You don't feel confused about where you stand. You don't need to decode text messages. You don't feel like love is a test you're trying to pass. You feel respected, considered, chosen. If betrayal makes you feel small, healthy love makes you feel expanded. And once you experience that expansion, you realize something life-changing love was never meant to hurt as proof that it's real. Now we arrive at the part that requires the most courage, recognizing betrayal is painful. But acting on that recognition, that's terrifying. Because walking away doesn't just mean losing a person. It means grieving the future you imagined, the memories you cherished, the version of them you hoped they would become. And grief can feel unbearable. But staying in betrayal costs you something too. It costs you your confidence, your peace, your ability to trust yourself. And here's the truth no one likes to say out loud: sometimes love is not enough. You can love someone deeply and still recognize they are not capable of loving you in the way you deserve. You can have chemistry, history, and share dreams and still not have safety. Walking away is not weakness. It is an act of radical self-respect. It's standing in front of the mirror and saying, I will not trade my dignity for companionship. It's choosing short-term heartbreak over long-term erosion. And yes, you will question yourself. You will miss them. You will remember the good moments and wonder if you exaggerated the bad ones. That's normal. But clarity doesn't come from intensity. It comes from patterns. And if the pattern is betrayal, your courage must be louder than your fear. You are not abandoning love by walking away from betrayal. You are protecting your capacity to experience real love. And that is not selfish. That is brave. Sometimes the most powerful way to say, I love you to yourself is to leave. Let me leave you with this. Love should not require you to betray yourself. It should not demand that you silence your intuition, shrink your needs, or normalize disrespect just to keep someone close. Love is not proven by how much pain you can endure. It is proven by how safe you feel being fully, unapologetically yourself. The 3 betrayals you should never overlook, emotional abandonment, disrespect, and broken trust, are not small cracks. They are warning signs. And warnings are not there to scare you. They are there to protect you. You are worthy of a love that stays when conversations get hard. You are worthy of a love that protects your dignity, even in anger. You are worthy of a love where words and actions align. Stop romanticizing potential. Stop excusing patterns. Stop negotiating with your own worth. When someone shows you who they are consistently, believe them. And then make your decision from a place of strength, not fear. Here's the ending truth. The right love will never ask you to overlook betrayal to keep it. It will meet you with honesty. It will meet you with respect. It will meet you with presence. So choose the love that chooses you back, clearly, courageously, and consistently. And if you ever have to choose between losing them and losing yourself, choose yourself every single time.